Hello and welcome to another episode of MCCM's Mates Rates. Today we welcome Dave Sargent. He has organised a charity football match between a Sports Star 11 and the Hollyoaks squad and is a advocate of the ABUK autism charity. So welcome, Dave. How are we?
Good, mate. Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff, pal. Good stuff. We go straight into it on this. We don't mess about. We talk about why you do things, the challenges that you've come up against, and obviously what you're hoping to achieve. It's usually about business. This is a little bit different because it's more about awareness. I know it's something that's very close to your heart. So tell us a little bit about that first and foremost.
Yeah, so about 5 months ago, my youngest boy got diagnosed with autism, non-verbal autism. We sort of knew from him being about 2 years old, he's 4 now, that there was something that just wasn't right. Showed a few traits here and there of autism, so we thought I'd get him checked out. We did, and it took 2 years to get the diagnosis, which is pretty good, really, considering the amount of kids that or the amount of families that are trying to get the diagnosis in place.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And I think that knowing in your mind as well, because I've got other friends who've got kids who've got autism, and you almost have that gut feeling as a parent, don't you, before that diagnosis is actually given?
Absolutely, yeah. He was showing traits, as I said, from being 2 years old, like he was walking on his tiptoes, he was collecting all the toys together, lining them up, and, just doing bits like that, and we thought, and he wasn't speaking, wasn't even trying to speak. So we sort of knew then that something wasn't right. Yeah. And he has been gradually getting worse in terms of his behaviour. It's been really difficult for me and his mum. But yeah, we're finally getting to grips with it now and adapting to his needs and his lifestyle, which, again, it is tough, but you've just got to do it, haven't you? So.
Yeah, and I guess that by finding out, that's what's kind of spurred you on to partner with ABUK, because you start Googling, don't you? Once something happens to your kids, you want to know exactly what's wrong and if you can fix it and if there's anybody out there to support. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with them.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to, obviously we got the diagnosis. As and when we got the diagnosis, by the way, it was in the doctors and stuff, and we both got a bit emotional when he was diagnosed, not because he got confirmed he had autism, but because we knew he was going to get the help and the support that we needed then, because it wasn't in place before. You need a diagnosis. And it's very rare to get a child diagnosed before they start school. So I was pretty lucky in that respect. So I just wanted to raise more awareness, really, across the community more than anything. I looked at a few national charities, but no disrespect to them, but you had just a number. So I wanted to get involved with more of a local charity, a community charity. So I reached out to Cordelia Singh at ABUK. Her son also has non-verbal autism, and she faces the same challenges as what we do. So it was a no-brainer, really. The community come together, the group sessions that she puts on are amazing. She's an amazing mother, she's an amazing person, she's got a great family around her. It was just a perfect fit for me doing what I'm doing right now and to help out the community.
Yeah, and you use that word community a few times there, and I think that, again, from friends and family that I know, we've got autism in the family because it's such a wide spectrum.
Absolutely,
the word autism is just one word, but it doesn't cover every single type on that spectrum.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I mean, you've got kids with autism that don't really show it, and they're just really clever in their own little way, and they have got certain issues, but you won't be able to see it. But then on the other hand, you've got Oliver, my boy, who you just know. You know what I mean? You just know, and he's doing things, and I have comments in public from people when his behaviour's not right, and they're like, "Oh, that naughty child there." It's not that though. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It just isn't that. It's more. So there's 3 things for me here. There's the awareness, the education, and the acceptance.
Yeah.
So it all needs to come together.
Yeah, and people's acceptance of things like that. I mean, kids' behaviour is always judged, isn't it? It's one of those things that throughout generations, you always get somebody turning the nose up if a kid's being naughty or doing something, when in actual fact, they might not be naughty at all. It might actually be the condition that they're suffering with. And going back to the community aspect of it, I suppose it's great for you and everybody around you that you're getting this support now from people who've already gone through it themselves. So tell us a little bit more about the actual charity itself and then what you've done with the charity recently.
Okay, so the charity itself, they so Cordelia and members of the charity who are affiliated with it in whatever way, They put on like sensory classes every weekend and stuff like that, and do little sessions for the adults and things, and get all the kids involved. It's absolutely brilliant. And another reason why I'm doing this is because I want to raise enough funds to make sure that we have our own little place to do this, because currently she's hiring out places here and there and getting their own sensory toilet, things like that, do you know what I mean? Whereas, I mean, there's a place in Preston that we go to on Sundays. It's Preston, do you know what I mean? For people in Wigan, who can't drive, for example, you can't get there.
Yeah, it doesn't facilitate the wider community.
Exactly, yeah. So we're trying to look for, Cordelia has been talking to me, and we're trying to look for somewhere, like a little area, so that we can build ourselves and, and make it our own, basically.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I've been doing recently, since December last year, I thought, what a better way than to raise awareness than to get celebrities involved.
Yeah, it always helps, doesn't it?
It always helps, yeah, absolutely. So obviously, with me playing football at a high level when I was younger, I still had contacts in the football world. Obviously, starting that business, Atmo, which you helped me with. Got in touch with a lot of celebs there as well. So I've always had the contacts. It was just getting them all together and getting them to play it on the same day at the same time. You know how difficult it can be.
Yeah.
It took 5 months to get there. What a roller coaster! Just get everything set up, from the kits to the players to the tickets, the raffle tickets, the auctions, just everything. It's just been crazy. It's been a whirlwind, but one day to go. We're nearly there now.
Yeah. Well, by the time this goes out, obviously, what Dave's alluding to here is we've got a charity football match, haven't we, mate?
We have, yeah.
And it is a Sports Star 11. Well, there'll be more than 11, but 11 on the pitch at the time, against the Hollyoaks 11. So tell us a little bit more about how you got those inroads with the Hollyoaks lot.
Yeah, so Mark Hayes, who's the sporting director of FC St Helens, he was the actual chairman at Ashton Town when I played there. So I've always been mates with him, and he did a few charity events back at Ashton Town with the Hollyoaks lot. So I thought I'd get in touch with him, see if he's still got any of the numbers. Anyway, he had Nick Pickard's number.
Yeah.
He was on I'm a Celeb in December, which was mad. So I called him and he answered, and I was like, whoa. He answered. And as soon as I mentioned it, he was like, yeah, I want in. So I was like, wow, okay. So I mentioned the date, and he just put it in his diary straight away, and that was it. And
That's
then
amazing.
We've just been talking ever since. Like, become mates, really. It's mad.
Yeah, well, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you've got a specific, I would say, class of person who've signed up to this, and all of the sports stars are all working class. They're all down to earth. Like everybody's name that you've said, you feel like you could go for a pint with them or have a brew with them. They're all really like down to earth blokes, aren't they? So this is your chance to name drop a little bit now. Tell us a few about a few names of the people that are actually attending it.
Yeah, so obviously I'm a big Wigan Athletic fan, so I've been getting in touch with a few of them. I've got some of like my boyhood heroes' phone numbers now, which is mad. Like, they're texting me just asking me how I am and that, and I'm like, what's going on?
You got Mr. T's phone number?
I wish. But so the likes of John Filan, who was the old Latics goalkeeper, Jason Jarrett's down, Nathan Ellington, Neil Roberts, Anthony Pilkington, Sean O'Loughlin, Wigan Warriors captain.
Wow.
So it's a mixture of all different sports. So it might be a bit of a laugh more than an actual challenging football match. But yeah, it's going to be good, and they've been brilliant. I mean, some of them can actually relate to autism as well. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as you mention the word autism, they want to get involved, and it's brilliant to see.
Yeah, and on that note, you have had other people get involved in this in the background. They can't play in the game because they've obviously got other sporting commitments. Tell us a little bit about the people who've got involved to help you on the other side of things.
Yeah. So Tom Aspinall, obviously the UFC heavyweight world champion now.
Yeah.
Again, he can relate to that with his son having autism. I've met him a few times, and of course we spoke about that, and we've had a deep conversation about it. It does get emotional, as you can expect. But yeah, Tom Aspinall's there. There's a few more that were supposed to be coming, but they've dropped out last minute. But there's just nothing you can do about that. There's work commitments and things like that. But yeah, Josh Charnley's going to be down there. Amira Hanley, a few guys from Lee. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah. Well, I think that the whole concept of putting on a sporting event to raise money is something that we know is a tried and proven method, isn't it? I mean, you look at what goes on with UNICEF every 2 years, Soccer Aid, and the awareness and the money that in itself as a charity fundraiser has become one of the most popular things on TV, hasn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I mean, there's no reason that this couldn't snowball into something bigger and better. So tell us what your aspirations are moving forward with this.
So I do want it to be an annual event. I did mention to you the other week that I wanted to speak to Derek at Lee and let's get it at the Sports Village next year and let's get it all involved there. But I know they're affiliated with another charity that called the A-Team Hub, I think. But I was hoping that we could come to some sort of agreement to partner and let's do it together. And do you know what I mean? So there's definitely room for something there. So yeah, I want it to be an annual event. But for me personally, I want to go into schools and educate kids. The younger generation on what autism's like and what it's like to deal with it and how to accept other kids, because it's just not happening at the moment. And if you teach them from the youth upwards, it's only going to improve. So the awareness side of things anyway, because that's the key to this for me. The funds is a bonus, but the awareness is massive.
Yeah, well, I think you touched on it early on, didn't you? I mean, the ignorance of an older generation, because they're just not educated in what autism is and how to deal with it. And I think that the only people who really do know how to sort of cope and deal are the people who are living through it. So to teach something like that at a young age and show that, you know, there is equality and inclusion in that, in that community, you know, hopefully in 10, 15 years time, we'll see the fruits of your labour.
Yeah, I hope so. Obviously, if you can educate them from a younger age, obviously when they grow up, it'll snowball. So, yeah, fingers crossed everything goes well tomorrow, and then fingers crossed it can go further. Yeah,
good stuff, good stuff. Well, as I say, this will probably go out after
the event. Yeah.
So the actual podcast itself will probably have highlights and snippets and a post-match interview with yourself, Dave.
Cool.
Hopefully you'll be on the winning team.
Hopefully, let's see.
Yeah, I can't imagine Hollyoaks being very good. I've heard Corrie are better than them.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Well, listen, mate. I wish you all the best of luck with this, and we're going to continue to support you. And thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Anytime. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Dave.
Cheers.